in this world that did not tune in to the Alliance Vlog podcast. Shame on you!
Shame on you. My name is Ella Indy, and I'm one half of the NWA Women's World Tag Team Champion.
And I'm Kinsey Page, the other half of the NWA World Women's Tag Team Champion.
And you better go listen to the Alliance Vlog, what's it called again?
Podcast, period.
You're ugly. Korean Power approved. Alright.
Mi gente, you already know who it is. It's the radioactive pop with Danny Limelight, the United Wrestling Network World Heavyweight Champion. And make sure you tune into the Alliance Vlog every week. You heard it here first. Straight from Poppy.
Hey guys, check this out. I am officially now sponsored by Dubby. Dubby is a clean energy drink made to give you focus with no crash. If you guys are like me, you're always needing a burst of energy, especially with one with no crash. Dubby contains vitamins, amino acids, a nootropic, and 150 milligrams of caffeine. It keeps me awake with no jitters, guys. Check it out. Merch link is in the bio. Dubby.
Why are you excited to be here tonight?
Because I'm just excited.
Yeah. No other explanation. Now, I do believe, tell me the truth. Is it true that your dad has a ringside seat but didn't get you guys ringside seats?
That is true, but it's because of his YouTube channel, okay? It's his YouTube, okay?
Her dad's an influencer. Let him go, guys. But your dad's awesome, right?
Yeah.
See, he's awesome!
What is up, everyone? Welcome to the PreParty, a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com, your number one source for news and information for the National Wrestling Alliance. My name is Jake Allen. Each and every Tuesday, I come to you, brother, that hashtag NWA fam, to talk all things NWA. Don't you know, daddy? And I'm coming here after being in Dallas at the Crockett Cup. Continuity doesn't live here, friends. Continuity doesn't live here, damn it. Because we live in a world where tonight on Power, there are qualifying matches for a program that happened on Saturday. Now, I get it. Before you all get your feathers ruffled, I understand that, hey, we got to tape these things in advance, but I feel it's pretty atrocious. I feel it's a little bit off-putting that you had a live event that people were excited about, and there were a lot of question marks, and I don't mean the wrestler in a mask. I mean, things didn't make sense being at the live event. Now, I get it. Like, the stories do need to be unfolded and unfurled, and there needs to be time for these things to breathe. But, with no preparation, we are just introduced to existing characters and new gimmicks, new tag teams, new partnerships, new allegiances, and it didn't make any sense. I understand that this is all part of the process, but as a consumer, as a fan, someone that paid for a ticket to be at the show, I feel like I watch the program. I attend these live events. I shouldn't need a primer to walk in the building. I'm watching your show each and every Tuesday. Well, maybe some days it's Thursdays. To be honest, some days it is Thursdays. But it just, I do this, and I do this, and I go, I don't get it. I had the pleasure of talking to Dave Marquez just yesterday. And, there have been times where maybe I have missed some of the live events or haven't watched everything that has been taped. But if you go to a premiere event like the Red Carpet Rumble, everything's pretty self-explanatory. There aren't major shakeups in the foundation. You could pretty much follow what's happening. And I don't know. We'll get into more about it later. But this was Saturday was Crockett Cup. I'm going to try to be as spoiler-free as I can be. But, yeah, it was an interesting experience. And out of the 3 Crockett Cups I've ever been to, this was easily my least favorite. With that being said, one of the reasons that I loved this year's Crockett Cup is because I got to see my friend, Mr. Devin Mercer. And I want to wish our pal DKM a very happy birthday. DKM showed me hospitality, took me to some of the finest barbecue in the city. Oh, I don't have the barbecue picture anymore. I have this one. Hey, there we are. Oh, there it is. There's the barbecue. That's some good eats right there. Let me tell you, sir, that Texas barbecue ain't no joke. So I want to thank DKM for his kindness and his hospitality. He gave me a gift, and it's really weird. It's not weird to get gifts. I love getting gifts. You want to give me something? I'll take it. But my pal DKM, I knew this was coming. I knew he was doing something for me. I was kind of surprised. Because Mr. Mercer gifted me this guy right here. And, it's not wasted on me that this title is not the NWA 6-man tag, but rather the world-class 6-man tag. So, for the other Alliance guys, they have the NWA 6 tag, and your boy Jay and DK and eventually Jaden will have a replica of the world-class tag titles. And then I was given another gift. I was given one more gift. This one came from the North. This one came from Canada, And our good friend Tim Gold, NWA Gold, gifted me his NWA Big Gold Championship. And as much as I love receiving this and as much as I love having it, the circumstances of why I have this belt is still a painful reminder that the NWA needs to get their shit together. So I do want to say thank you, Mr. Tim Wood, and thank you, Mr. DKM, for the gifts. It really means a lot to me. I'm humbled by this shit. Like, you guys don't understand. I do consider this a community and a family, but I don't ever expect anything out of you guys. But DKM has gifted me multiple times, and now Tim has gifted me multiple times. And honestly, it's a lot for me, but I'm so appreciative of it. Thank you, gentlemen. You're not here, but hopefully you're watching this and you hear my gratitude, because it is certainly not lost on me. So with that being said, happy birthday, DKM. Normally he gives me, on somebody's birthday, you give them a gift, and he gave me one. So that was pretty cool. So you guys want to talk about Crockett Cup? Bet you do. How about this? You want to see this? Is there more to show you? Sure, why not? That's all I'm going to show you. That's it, guys. That's all I'm going to give you. But it was a great okay. I got to choose my words correctly because I don't want to shit on the entire evening because there was a lot of good wrestling. Of course, when I get to hang out with DKM, I'm having a good time. The venue, the OC, is a great venue for pro wrestling. I don't think the NWA managed the arena properly. I feel like they put too many chairs on the floor. They could have used the bleachers in a better, more efficient way. And the problem with that is that it made very, very uncomfortable viewing experience where I literally, and I am very good friends with Shane. He was the cameraman on that side of the corner of the ring where DKM and I were sitting. But half the night, I was basically staring at his ass. And that's, you know, I get the idea like, hey, the cameraman is the most important. We're filming this for TV. But at the same time, like, I'm having limited view of the ring and I have front row seats. What is that? What sense does that make? Matthew Underwood, you don't call it the OC? That's what it's called. What would you call it, Matthew Underwood? It was called the OC. You can look it up, brother. That's what I had to do to Google to get there. Or Google Maps, the OC. If you put the OC Theater, it'll send you to AMC. Anyways, so it was a cool venue, and what that place is, it's kind of like it kind of reminded me like of a Full Sail University, although I've never been there. There's it's more than just a studio for pro wrestling. They literally have I believe like it's career opportunities. I think it's called like Opportunity College, the OC. I think that's what it stands for. But they do like car repairs there. There's literally a full functioning auto body garage there. There was a little restaurant in there that served Mexican food, a taqueria, if you will. There were, but the venue was nice, but there was only one way in and one way out. And again, the seats were so close to the ring. There wasn't a lot of comfortability. There wasn't a lot of space. So I guess, again, it was a great venue, but I wish the NWA would have took better advantage of the seating arrangements that were there. In terms of the wrestling, I was kind of surprised that some faces weren't there. So, I don't know how much I can and cannot say. I love that show, Matthew Underwood, and I totally zoom right over my head. I love that show too. I'll get to your Tyrus joke in a minute, Willie. OC stands for Orange County. Matthew Underwood, you need to stop with this harassment. This is harassment. I'm going to go to HR with this one. Everybody knows the best tacos are in California. Okay, so like I said, the venue is a little cramped. Still really a cool venue, and like I'll try to bring it up one more time. Well, no, I guess I don't need to. The wrestling was good, but there was a lot of people missing who you would have thought would have been there. I was surprised who challenged for the women's title. I don't feel like I should talk about it because I think that would ruin the show in like 2 months when you eventually get to watch it, as well as like, I don't really want to discuss who won the Crockett Cup or anything of that nature, because I feel like it's giving away a lot of what the next couple of weeks are building up to. As you saw from the footage I chose to share, yeah, there was some country gentlemen in there versus the Southern Six of Morton and Taylor. A lot of fun wrestling in terms of that. The things I could do without, there was not a lot of explanation of who was challenging for what and why. Matches that you've already seen before, you're going to see again, and I'm not exactly sure why. You guys don't want me to spill the beans? Like, who wants to spill the beans? Chris, I think I know the guy who wrote the article. Wasn't me. Don't look at me like that. I didn't take notes. If you guys want to talk about it, I'll talk about it. If that's what you guys want, everyone says that's what they want, then I'll talk about it. I'm going to get to that Tyrus joke. Let's see. And Tyrus is in therapy. He must stay away from picnics, banquets, and fast food restaurants. Oh, I went to Buc-ee's too. I went to an Angel game. They won. Spill no beans. See, Jeremy, number one, good to see you, brother, and I'm glad you're doing okay. Message me. I don't have a problem sharing the results. I just don't feel like this is the right format because I don't want to take away from other people's enjoyment. Some people hate spoilers. Some people like spoilers. I'm going to try to avoid those when I can. I will say this: I can't say anything, right? I'm not watching the product, so I don't. I don't know if you spoil. Yeah, I got it. Sorry. It was a good show in that some surprising things happened, but like I said, I don't want to get into too much, but like the continuity is what kills me because I understand that what we're watching now was filmed back in April or maybe even, it might have been March. I think it was April. But there was 2 back-to-back days of tapings, and we've already seen the first episode of that. So that means there's 3 more tapings from night 1, or 3 more shows from night 1, and 4 more from night 2, which means like the rest of May is booked, half of June is booked, before we even get to the Crockett Cup. So we're looking at like the Crockett Cup finals probably won't even air until July, like probably towards the end of July. And by then, there'll have been the territory show. We'll have our world champion will have traveled to Australia. Our world champion will have traveled to Japan. You know, our world champion will be here in California, and I'm going to miss it. It's so amazing. It's excellent. Why can't someone get on my schedule for once and fly all the way to Dallas to see the world's heavyweight champion? And he shows up in my backyard on the one weekend I'm not here. Thanks, EC3. The essential character. More like I can't watch you when you're in my home state character. And by the way, what do you think of the new shirt? That shirt is available in our shop if you're so inclined. For a measly $15, you too could look this cool like me. I don't think I'm drunk, but I don't feel like I'm not intoxicated. I spent all day out in the sun. So anyways, yeah. So where are we at? We are at, a crossroads here. When it comes to production for the National Wrestling Alliance, I understand that, filming more content is always going to be a great idea, and having a cascade of content available for your audience to view is a smart idea. But if you're going to stack TV tapings, and if this part-time wrestling company, because let's be honest, they're not a full-time wrestling company when they film 1 to 2 shows a month. That means 12 to 24 shows a month. And if your distribution is 4 shows, 4 shows a month, and you're producing 24 shows. I just got all mathed up in my head. It's difficult to get excited about a product that I'm seeing once a week for 45 minutes when it films 2 months ahead of what I'm watching on television. I don't have an overwhelming desire to go to the return of the Indies. I've already purchased my ticket. I've already made my arrangements to be there in Philadelphia, but I got to be honest, I'm not excited to head to Philadelphia to watch a show that I'm not really even going to be able to discuss until November, December. The model is flawed. The model is broken. I really feel like this is just, again, a failed system. And we know that their deal, apparently Billy Corgan has mentioned that there's now a 3rd deal. If that means that the content will be released sooner and we'll get more of the NWA content on a regular basis, then you know what? I can be okay with that. I can be content with that. It sounds like it's going to be on CW, but although no formal announcements have been made, the only thing I have heard is that it's not going to be initiated for an international audience. Now, again, Billy also said that they're working on trying to do that, but they've been saying that for 6 months now. David Valentine. See, every time we do the show, Willie comes in with a Tyrus joke. David Valentine gives you some false information. And if you want to run with it, go ahead. But breaking news, Billy Corgan sells 50% of the NWA to Shane McMahon. I don't think that Shane McMahon has any interest in being involved with any wrestling company. And if Shane McMahon was going to buy into a wrestling company, wouldn't it make sense to buy into one that's already pretty well established with their own TV pay-per-view model and runs somewhat more regularly? And I love the NWA guys, but we have to start taking an honest inventory of what it is. It's a part-time wrestling show. It is a wrestling television show that airs weekly, 52 weeks a year, and the content is filmed, every other month, every month. It's what it is. We cannot overstate it or understate it. That's exactly what the show is. It's a part-time wrestling promotion. There are wrestling promotions in my backyard that run more than once a month. The Empire Wrestling Federation does like 5 or 6 shows a month. We've talked about Coastal Championship Wrestling, the last known territory. They run multiple times a week. I don't know. Chris Drummond says, did you get EC3 to sign your 10 pounds of gold? So that's when I called in a favor, but that was back in Nashville at the TV tapings after the 76. Yes, EC3 signed my belt thanks to my buddy Gary Horn, who arranged that situation for me. I'm very grateful for Gary. Very grateful for Ethan Carter III. The 10 pounds of gold has been signed by EC3. And if it wasn't... if there wasn't so much stuff back there, I'd pull it down and show you, but I would think I'd bring everything down with it. But let's talk about the NWA, because there are good things, guys. Like, I know it sounds all doom and gloom when I start talking, because there's some things that do bother me about the NWA, but there are some things that I think are going very well for the NWA. And I do, I have to acknowledge these things, because I feel like they're moving in a forward direction with the right momentum. Okay, now we've mentioned this before, but return to the Indies June 1st. That's great. You see a host of talent representing promotions all across the NWA universe, NWA family, if you will. You've got Joe Kazana Promotions, you've got Exodus Pro, Fight the World, NWA Chicago, Crossfire, and they still haven't officially formally announced World League Wrestling as an official NWA licensee or territory or whatever you want to call it. But obviously, they're alluding to that, and of course, Trevor Murdoch has had a very rich, strong history with WLW. That's where Harley Race trained him, don't you know? NWA Chicago is represented by Mario Pardua, and of course your World Junior Heavyweight Champion Joe Alonzo, who apparently my wife finds attractive, according to Joe Alonzo. AJ Kazana and KC Kazana representing Joe Kazana Promotions, and it looks like Kill representing the Fight the World Wrestling, and of course the Page Sisters representing Crossfire, and it's all there. It's all evident. Matt Cardona will be making a special appearance at this event, because that's going to be totally useful and important to the show. This is the event where EC3 will be out in my neck of the woods. 4 great shows over 3 days, and I will miss every single one of them. June 7th, 8th, and 9th. And that's a stacked card, man. I mean, look, if you don't know some of the names on there, I mean, of course, I see Mecha Wolf and I see Ray Horas, and I think that's Microman. That's EC3. That's the Juventud Guerrera, who is, part of the NWA at this point too. He's Crossfire heavyweight champion. And then, of course, the Brian Kendrick. Other names are like Eli Everfly, El Tortuga, and then, of course, Devon Dudley's sons. They'll be there too. That's coming the week after the territories, and I won't be here. Very miffed about that. Also, that there's the on June 14th, there's the showcase Back to the Basics, which will be a Joe Kazana production, and then there are more events coming. Of course, we've talked about the partnership between Exodus Pro and Mission Pro, and that should be thoroughly examined because first and foremost, Tiffany Nieves, who is your Mission Pro champion, she defends the title against Izzy Marino. That Izzy, yes, that same one that Bailey made cry or Sasha Banks made cry. I don't remember who made her cry, but someone made her cry. The NWA Women Tag Team Champions will be defended on that event. The King Bees will be defending their the Mission Pro Tag Team titles, not the NWA Tag titles, but the Mission Pro Tag titles against Nova Phoenix and Morgan Mercy. And then in what can only be described as cross-promotional wrestling, the tournament will begin to crown a new women's champion for Exodus Pro and Mission Pro. It'll be a championship that carries over for both promotions. And the first match that was announced will be Kelsey Heather versus London Dior. And I don't know who's representing what because it doesn't really specify. But then also in action will be Avery Bro versus Queen Uju. I hope I pronounced that correctly. No disrespect intended if I did not. So, I mean, it's pretty cool that we're seeing more and more of the NWA's influence in this territory system. Now, Exodus Pro is just a member, just a territory, just like all the others. But if a relationship with Mission Pro is forged, what other opportunities could be opened for the NWA and territories? Could we see Mission Pro join the alliance? We were in the OC event center in Forney, Texas, where TSW currently runs, and now TSW has connections with Dog Pound Pro Wrestling, but no official relationship has been announced, at least not as yet. But gosh, I don't think I have graphics for it. But at the next Dog Pound event, or maybe it was the TSW event. Shoot, I don't have graphics for it. We are going to see Joe Alonzo defend the World Junior Heavyweight title, and Natalia Markova is their women's champion in that promotion. So that's all pretty cool. And then I guess I should show this one too. Of course, June 22nd, Almost Paradise. You'll see the continuation of the Mission Pro and Exodus Pro tournament to crown a women's champion. Of course, you could see some of the talents who have made their name in the NWA and in Mission Pro and Exodus Pro. And then, of course, we need to talk about, 1 week away from tomorrow, Ryuki Honda defending challenging EC3 and the 10 pounds of gold. That'll be the first time that the World's Heavyweight Championship is in Japan. If you haven't been to our live, if you haven't checked out our podcast section, either on Spotify or even here on YouTube, I did a video talking about the 10 pounds of gold in Japan that I really think it's informative, and I think you guys might get a kick out of it. And then also our World's Heavyweight Champion, EC3, makes his debut in Australia as the World's Heavyweight Champion for our friends over at All-Star Wrestling. All-Star Wrestling, of course, is the promotion that was started by one of you guys. I'm not trying to brag because I've done nothing here except for I've always tried to give people an opportunity to share their values and opinions, right? The owner of All-Star Wrestling, who I only know as Pole Jump. I don't know his first name. I don't know his last name. I just know him as Pole Jump. He used to come onto our message board. Now, for those of you who are younger, message boards were kind of like a place to communicate with other people of similar interests. Before there was a Discord or a Facebook or a Twitter, we had message boards. And so Pole Jump would come to our message board and talk about how he would do wrestling and what he would do for wrestling. And it turns out after, not a lot of convincing, honestly, Dave Marquez told him, hey, put your money where your mouth is. Our own Jaden from the Alliance guys, used to dislike Pole Jump quite a bit. They became friends. And so he did. He started promoting wrestling events, and now he's going to have our world champion, a title that means a lot to Pole Jump, defended on one of his shows. And I think that's so cool. I'm so proud of him and so happy for him. But I'm excited to see what's going to happen. We're going to try to have Pole Jump on maybe even this Thursday if the cards will allow it. But yeah, it's kind of exciting, and I'm looking forward to seeing our world heavyweight champion, of course, doing the time-honored tradition of taking the 10 pounds of gold all across the world. So I'm going to get some more of your guys' comments. I see some of them are in here. If you have a thought, opinion, share it. We're here to talk NWA, so please feel free to jump in. And of course, what's up? I want to say what's up to everybody too. Like I normally say that earlier, but what's up to Jeremy and Willie and Dave Scooby's in the house. Noob is here. Chris Drummond's here. DKM, the birthday boy. Matthew Underwood. Of course, David Valentine. And if I missed any of you guys, I apologize. But, be vocal. I'll say what's up. Noob says EC3 really enjoys playing spoilers. The thing of, yeah, he does actually, now that you bring it up. I'm not going to get too much into the match, but I was really I felt that title match was very lackluster. And again, I don't want to beat a dead horse. I've said it so many times. I don't think anyone is challenging me on this, but until the NWA can build up its own realistic challenger for the 10 pounds of gold, all these matches are kind of meaningless. EC3 is a great wrestler. I'm not taking anything away from EC3. But what I'm saying is, if you're going to bring in someone to challenge for that title, they got to be a big name that's a draw. Because if you just bring somebody who's well known in the in Mexico, that's not going to necessarily sell you that many more tickets. And the matchup was just whatever. It didn't. I didn't want to see a rematch. I don't need to see them ever wrestle again. I don't need to see, now they have a match in Mexico. It was a very simple, a very benign match. And I want more when it comes to the 10 pounds of gold. I want bloodlust. I want hostility and anger and ferocity and violence and viciousness. I want someone to try to rip that belt out of EC3's dead, cold, bloody hands. And until I get that, everything else just feels like almost nothing. Willie says, Jeremy recognized Microman. David Valentine says, have you heard of ECWA? They would be a great addition to the NWA. Jay, Google them. Yeah, I know who ECWA is, the East Coast Wrestling Alliance. They're also known for the, what was it called? The Super 8 tournament, I think it is. A junior heavyweight tournament that they used to do. I don't even know if they still do it anymore. But, yeah, they wouldn't be a bad member. I think somehow ECWA is with JCW and GCW. I think that all is kind of like the same family of wrestling promoters. Don't hold me to that. I'm not 100% honestly sure how they're all connected, but we do know this, that if Billy is going to choose to be affiliated with a different wrestling promotion, it's going to be with somebody who he knows, respects, and trusts, right? Joe Kazana. We all thought Joe Kazana would be the first promoter who was connected to the NWA because it was his ring crew. That's practically his ring at most of the TV tapings. His guys are setting up the ring. There was a Foster. Joe Kazana fostered a good relationship with the NWA before they even started talking about the territories. And, for what it's worth, Joe Kazana is kind of the man who brought Silas Mason to the NWA. Obviously the country gentleman as well, but he brought in value to the NWA. So it made sense that he was in the conversation to be the first territory. And of course he did become the second territory. We are really being too kind. Sean, when did you start watching the show? Because I haven't really been all that kind today. EC3 is doing great defending the 10 pounds of gold, but the NWA needs to build up more contenders within. This is 100%, like Scooby, you and I are on the same page. We might have even talked about this offline. There are a lot of great challengers out there to throw in the ring with EC3, but at the end of the day, who's going to move the needle? who's going to bring fans into the arena? We went to the Crockett Cup. A lot of you guys were expecting the Von Erich brothers, Marshall and Ross. They weren't there. They did not appear on the pay-per-view, and they did not appear on the pay-per-view Signature Live event. They weren't a part of the show because it was cost prohibitive. How many more tickets are you going to be able to sell because you put a name on that show? And how many more people are going to come and buy tickets and buy merchandise and buy whatever to get that money generated for what you're spending? There was a full house in Forney, Texas. I mean, it was pretty packed. And there wasn't anything extremely special about who was there. There we saw, of course, you guys knew that Sam Adonis, El Rudo from Lucha Libre AAA was there, and he challenged for the 10 pounds of gold. I don't think very many people were there to see El Rudo show up in an NWA ring. In fact, Sam Adonis took to Twitter and said something along the lines of, a fan walked up to him and said, "I'm so happy to see you back with the NWA, Nick." When Adonis took that as a huge compliment, but also noted that Aldous would be mortified. And I think that's hilarious. But, sorry, Sam got me a comment there and it just made my mind melt. There was not a big draw in terms of a single competitor or tag team, but I think the Crockett Cup in and of itself was a draw. Of course, David Crockett was there. Our pal DKM spoke with him and talked about Nikita ripping his head off and all that fun stuff. But there wasn't a ton of superstars from yesteryear. And it was a good show. Like, the wrestling wasn't bad. Okay. Most of the wrestling wasn't bad. I think you guys will enjoy the women's world title match. Okay. 100%. I think you will enjoy that. I think you will enjoy the Crockett Cup matches as they are presented to you. I think you're going to enjoy that. The world title match was very lackluster. It was an afterthought. And I expected more from EC3 and I expected more from Sam Adonis. I don't feel like either one of them were out there trying to steal the show, and it definitely showed. I think the World Junior Heavyweight title was a lot of fun. I think Joe Alonzo did great. His opponent was a lot of fun. Somebody you've seen in an NWA ring before, somebody who's challenged for the World Junior Heavyweight title before. I'm not going to try to give out too much more information. If you want the spoilers, they're out there. PWI has already reported it. Also, I feel like, I think that's about it. Tom went out there, defended his national title against Zion, and I just felt like that match was a little lackluster. And maybe the whole point was to not steal the spotlight from the tag tournament. But you could have tried. You could have done something to excite the fans. Like I said, it wasn't a bad show. There were elements that I did not enjoy. There were elements that I felt were, ho-hum. And then there were some parts that I really enjoyed. And I'm only trying to convey this in a way to not spoil things, but I think overall you're going to enjoy the show. What are they doing with Mims? I can't really talk about what they're doing with Mims without spoiling the show, so I won't. I will say this, that there were no TV title defenses for either the men or the women, and it means that the last time Max the Impaler has defended the television title for either men or women was back in January with one of those matches that aired, I think, in late March. So we still haven't seen a TV title defense for Max the Impaler since January. To me, that's almost negligent. That's almost criminally negligent, because the TV title was supposed to be a way to hotshot a contender into the main event picture. And it was supposed to be a way to get people over with some creativity. Like, hey, if, so-and-so wins a number one contenders match, then they win 7 more matches after that, they're advancing to an opportunity to face the world's heavyweight champion or the world's women's champion. And that hasn't happened since Max has bottlenecked the division. And I don't have a problem with Max. I don't have a problem with Max identifying as non-binary. I have a problem with Max holding up 2 titles and not defending them and not giving an opportunity for more people to challenge for these belts. Max was involved with the Crockett Cup tournament, so we didn't get to see a title defense, and we haven't seen Max defend a title in months. So it's like, what are we doing here? You basically just neutered or spayed the entire TV division because you have a champion who isn't defending the belt. Will Camille return to the NWA at some point? Rumors are Camille's already signed and they're just waiting to debut her. I don't know the specifics. I don't have a relationship with Tom or Camille. I don't have a way of knowing anything of certainty when it comes to Camille. I wish her the best. I think she did so much for the NWA. She deserves all the flowers. But I also feel like she wants to explore what's next in her career, and hopefully we see her sooner than later. Willie Bowen says Freya the Slaya is my heart versus Kenzie Page. That would be extraordinary. Not because Freya the Slaya is a great wrestler. I'm not trying. That sounded really mean, and I didn't mean it to. So let me try that again. Freya the Slaya is a phenomenal athlete, but I think her size and strength versus Kenzie Page would tell a very David and Goliath-esque story, which would be very interesting because you don't see a lot of that in the women's division. Now, of course, you would see that if Max was challenging for the women's world title, but that's not something we have seen in a while. And, we saw what happens when Kenzie Page faced an adversity from a champion or from a challenger who was bigger and stronger. Kenzie goes down. But, with that being said, Kenzie also took the belt off of Camille. And although it wasn't a clean victory, it was still a victory that, was well-deserved. So it'll be interesting. If they do decide to bring in Freya the Slaya, which I'm all for, I think that'd tell a very interesting and a very dynamic story. And if they're waiting to do something with Max the Impaler, I don't see where bringing in Freya the Slaya would be a problem. Noob says, I think Natalya has to take the women's TV title from Max. Better way to make her a legit contender for the World's Women's Championship. And I agree. I think at this point, the Max experiment is time to close unless you're going to have Max defend the titles. Dave Scooby even says that maybe they strip Max of both titles for not defending them, put the TV title on talent that need a push. Like, there's a guy on the roster who I think would make a lot of sense. His name is Carson Drake. He is out of Exodus Pro. He's obviously one of EC3's golden boys, and I would see him being TV champion could very much make for some interesting TV down the road. And of course, in the women's division, whether it be Natalia Markova, Ruthie J, my personal favorite would be Missa Kate. I think any one of those women could benefit from being TV champion. We just need some movement, some lateral movement, some any kind of movement in either of those divisions, because as Max is champion, again, it hurts. It hurts the titles. Max the Impaler should not hurt the championship that Max has. Max should be benefiting the titles. When Adam Pearce was world's heavyweight champion, sure, being world's heavyweight champion puts some stink on your name, makes you a star, but more so, what you do with the belt is what's really going to solidify your legacy. I feel like Max's legacy in the NWA has not been solidified just because Max won a male title and a female title. Sure, that's history. Sure, that's something that's never been done before. But what has Max done with that momentum? Nothing. Max, do something. Billy, do something with Max. Father James Mitchell, politic and get Max a world title shot in either direction. Let's do something with that momentum, because it's stalled. It's stalled so much that at this point, there's ambivalence. I don't care anymore. I don't care about the TV titles. Neither one of them. Until Max does something with it. David Valentine says, check out this indie wrestler named Shaza McKenzie. She'd be a great addition to the NWA Women's Division. David, I actually, I'm well aware of Shaza McKenzie. In fact, as it were, at the 75th anniversary show, Dave Scooby and I, the night before, went to WrestleMax St. Louis, which oddly enough, their event was in Columbia, Illinois. We got to see Shaza McKenzie in a Four Corners match, which also featured Misa Kate for the women's title, and I don't think they crowned a champion that night. Sean Mega says, I think Pretty Boy Smooth will be the next Billy project. Well, he is currently your not North American. That's not the right title. He is currently your NWA Midwest champion. It's such an ugly belt. Does anyone like that belt? Sign off in the comments. Yes, I like the belt. No, I don't like the belt. I know it's not a great photo of the belt, but that's all I have. Do you like that title? Because I don't. Rosville's in the house. What's up, Rosville? How you been? Let's see. Sorry. And Roswell says, no. Simple as that. It's an ugly belt. It's okay. Not every belt's going to be a hit. But, man, they could have done better than that. Let's talk about tonight's Power. Of course, this all roads lead to the Crockett Cup, Daddy. I feel weird when I say it like that. Crockett Cup, Daddy. So, okay, what we know is that over the next couple of weeks, we are going to have some first-round matches. Of course, we have the Blunt Force Trauma playing the winners of the 16-spot play-in match, which we had 2 of those contenders last week. Then we'll see the Fixers take on Max and Judeus, the Immortals versus the Kids, the Stu Crew versus Daisy Kills and Talos, Murdochs versus the Miserably Faithful, Jax Dane and Tim Storm versus Looks That Kill, the Southern Six versus the Slime Balls, and the Samoa versus the Country Gentlemen. The overwhelming answer here is that nobody likes the belt, but just so I can show you guys that I'm not making it up here, David Valentine says, ugly belt. Noob says, no, I don't like that title. It's terrible. Roswell says, no. Roswell says, I hope they do the Mid-American belt justice. To me, it's so weird that, like, you're creating these titles for what reason? What purpose? Why not just have the Exodus Pro title, the Joe Kazana Pro title, the Page sisters already have a belt for Crossfire. That's a Crossfire championship. Instead of coming up with all these territory names, but do make a territory title that does represent the territories of the NWA. If you're going to crown a, what is it, the Mid-American champion? Okay, cool. Crown your Mid-American champion. Let's see them on Power. Let's see them defend the title in the territories. Make that your second world title. Make that the top prize of the territories. Or, I don't know, make the national title the top title of the territories and get Tom's ass out there every weekend working in all these places. I don't know. Jeremy says that belt is horrible. Willie Bowen says, J-Cow, maybe different challengers from the territories could contend to challenge the EC3's 10 pounds of gold. That would be fine, Willie. I have no problem with that. But what it appears to me is that they're not doing that. What it appears, what I've seen so far is that each territory will crown their own champion if they don't already have one. And then there will be a traveling champion that competes in those territories, whether it be Chicago or Exodus Pro in Ohio or, in the Tennessee with either Crossfire or Joe Kazana Promotions, or even in St. Louis with WLW. And that champion will go from those areas as well. To me, I think that would be fine, but like you already have somebody who could do that on the roster, like a Tom Latimer, right? To me, that would make a lot of sense. Or, I'll be honest, who I'm going to be pushing for that spot is a guy like Silas Mason. I think Silas Mason should be the face of the NWA territories because, by God, that dude is something special and unique, something very formidable. Has had the national championship, has challenged for the world's heavyweight championship. And let's be honest, I think it's only a matter of time before he strikes gold again, whether it be with this Mid-American Championship or getting an opportunity at the 10 pounds of gold, or hell, why not even, Thrillbilly Silas Mason versus Max the Impaler for the men's television championship. Someone book that, right? Because we've seen Max manhandle people half his size. Hell, we've seen we've seen Silas Mason manhandle competitors as big as him, like Kratos and Odinson. But what could Silas Mason do with Max the Impaler? That might be interesting. So let's go to tonight's action. It's Power. And what we're going to see first and foremost, well, I don't know if this is first and foremost, but we are going to see in action. We do have the World Junior Heavyweight titles on the line when Damian Fenrir. Damian, I don't know who you are, and I don't know why you're getting a title shot, but hey, good luck to you. You're going to be facing Joe Alonzo, and Joe Alonzo's pretty good. So I don't think that that's a title that anyone's going to have to worry about, especially because I've never heard of Damian before. And that's the other problem I have with the National Wrestling Alliance is, can we please start building up some of these contenders for these matches? Can we start seeing guys, get in there and wrestle and have these matches to get these opportunities? Because I really feel like you're hurting a guy like Joe Alonzo by just throwing him in the ring with some random dude. Not hurting him in the fact that he looks bad. It just makes the title like, anybody can get a shot at the belt. How does that make the belt prestigious? How does that make it important? Because to me, it doesn't feel that way. Also in action, we have two round one matches for the Crockett Cup. Now, obviously, these matches have implications later down the road, but we will see the number 2 seed Murdochs taking on the Miserably Faithful, which is Yags the Gimp versus Sal the Savior, Sal the Pal. I mean, look, only one of these teams were at the Crockett Cup. I don't think I need to say anything more than that. Joe Alonzo is the biggest asshole in wrestling. I mean, I was cheering the guy, and he made a comment about my wife. Son of a bitch. If I see you, Joe Alonzo, out on the street, probably say what's up. See if you want to do a podcast or something. Kakushi's in the house. What's up, Kokushi? Kakushi. Let's see. The Miserably Faithful. Yeah, I mean, like, look, they're... Also in action tonight, we'll see the Looks That Kill take on the team of Jax Dane and Tim Storm, 2 former world heavyweight champions. In fact, both these men are former world heavyweight champions. Both of these men are former national champions. Jax Dane has the distinction of holding the national championship during the Lightning One era and during the Bruce Tharpe era. He's also a former world tag team champion. And remember, when Jax Dane became world's heavyweight champion, he only had to defeat Japanese legend Hiroyoshi Tenzan to become champion. Tim Storm only had to beat Jax Dane to become champion. So, these are 2 very impressive talents, 2 guys that I personally love to see in the ring. They're taking on the Looks That Kill, Brian Idol, the needle mover, according to Kayfabe Soup, and of course, Noob's favorite wrestler, Natalia Markova. I don't want to give out spoilers, but this will be something interesting. Some of you guys have already seen Power, so you already know the results of this. But it's a fun dichotomy when we get to Power. And of course, the last match that I haven't already previously mentioned is kind of a bit of a rematch that we've already seen. Tiffany Nieves teaming with Rekatahaka, taking on La Rosa Negra and Ruthie J. We saw this back at Hard Times, back in Dothan, Alabama. And these 2 wrestled for an opportunity to challenge for the Women's World Championship. They are back at it again. And we do see Tiffany Nieves and Rekatahaka at the pay-per-view. at the Signature live event. We also see La Rosa Negra and Ruthie J at the live event as well. So there is we'll see that match again. Instead of the titles on the line matches with no names, use the Shockwave name to run a 30-minute interview training segment. Introduce us to these folks' ongoing real sports presentation. Roswell, I agree 100%, man. I think that would be amazing. I feel like anything that they could do to add credibility to some of these wrestlers would help out so much. They're introducing they're introducing some talents up from the, farm, if you will, from the territories, but they don't really give them any kind of exposure except for, oh, he's a Joe Kazana guy. Oh, he's made his debut with Exodus Pro. It would be great if they spent some time explaining to who these characters are and give them a proper introduction with vignettes or promos and, introductory matches. Something that they could do on YouTube that wouldn't conflict with Power. Or if it's going to be something, Billy talked about having a third program. And if there is a third program, maybe this is something they do. And to be quite honest with you, I personally haven't watched a second yet of Carneyland or whatever Billy Corgan's reality show is called. It's something that I think I will get to eventually. It just hasn't been a priority. And I know that show has been kind of developing some characters for Power and whatnot. So I don't know if you really need to see both of those shows to kind of get it, but I probably would recommend that's something, diehard fans should do. But Roswell, I like that idea. The 10 Pounds of Gold was a series that made a lot of sense too, that I wouldn't hate seeing again, as that, having that real sports feel and introducing talents via that way makes for good TV. But that's going to basically do it for us, guys. It's going to wrap it up. Of course, there's more to be said about the Crockett Cup, but I feel like I would be doing a disservice to you, the fans, if I started telling you who won and who lost. If you guys care that much, you can be sure to, DM me. Slide in those DMs. And then also, I did post some photos, and, of course, there'll be video up on the YouTube page. From some of the matches that after they appear on TV, I'll be posting more content from the Crockett Cup or non-spoiler type content. But again, we posted photos on our social medias. You can check those out at the Alliance blog. I see more comments popping up on the screen. The Stu Crew should be the next U.S. Tag Team Champions. We still need to crown U.S. Tag Team Champions, and that's not something that happened at the pay-per-view either. So it's interesting to see what's important to the champ, what's important to the NWA, what's going to happen next. And I guess we just all have to wait and see. But that's going to do it, guys. Thank you so much for being here with me on this Tuesday. Of course, I'll be here next Tuesday as well. But on Thursday, I will be joined by Jaden and DKM. And I think we might even be talking to Pole Jump from All-Star Wrestling Australia and giving you the lowdown on EC3 heading to the land down under. But make sure you like the show, comment, like, subscribe. It really does help us with the algorithm. Over 4,000 strong now. You guys have really helped create this community, have helped me create a community of NWA fans and beyond. And hopefully that, you guys are enjoying it as much as I am. I see your one more comment. Yeah, hit that like, fam. That's right, Jeremy. Hit that like. So that's going to do it. And, of course, if the shirt – it's pretty damn cool shirt. You can get it in heather gray. You can get it in cardinal red. You can get it in blue or black. And we're working on more shirts coming very, very soon. We're efforting to have your fit for the summer. So again, thanks for supporting the show, and we'll see you next week. Well, we'll see you on Thursday if you want to join us. But until then, we'll see you at the matches.
Thanks for joining the stream. This has been a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com. We genuinely appreciate your support. Would you consider subscribing so you'll never miss a future episode? I'd also like to remind you we do a live stream every Tuesday at 5 p.m. before NWA Power. You can find us on social media at The Alliance Blog. And until next time, we are The Alliance.